Finally, a new Subaru WRX STI. Sort of. This is the TS Spec B variant, and it's basically the best bits of what the latest generation WRX has to offer all in one package. This is what the WRX should have been like all along in terms of this generation. It doesn't get the full STI treatment like we all would have hoped, like, you know, proper upgraded engine, upgraded chassis and suspension and all that with hardcore fixtures and extra bracing and all that sort of thing. But it does blend in a good mixture, and yeah, it's good that they didn't put an STI badge on the back. This is what's known as a TS, which is tuned by STI, and then Spec B. Most important thing, that big rear wing. So that's an iconic, you know, item of any STI model. It's got the same shape and everything as the classic models, and it just gives this a much more sporty and racy look. Although it doesn't quite contrast that well with the black cladding down here. So this is all kind of SUV or crossover around the wheel arches as well. It's not really, you know, track focused. It's a bit sort of dirt, but I guess the WRX is known for that anyway. It's a rally car at the end of the day, or, you know, that's why it was made. You've also got unique 19-inch dark grey alloy wheels, wrapped in Bridgestone Potenza S007 tyres. Really nice tyres actually, plenty of grip. It feels nice through the steering as well. Then behind those you've got big upgraded brakes, perforated discs, 6-piston Brembo calipers on the front, and there's even perforated discs and Brembo calipers on the back as well. The biggest change though, and I think the best upgrade for the Spec B, is the introduction of adaptive dampers with the manual transmission. So the Spec B is manual only, which is great, but previously you could only get the adaptive dampers with the top spec TS model, which was automatic only. It's got a yucky CVT, like nobody wants that for a performance vehicle anyway. Whereas now you've got the manual transmission and those adaptive dampers, so you can tune it and balance it out depending on the road, depending on the conditions, or if you go on the track, put it in the firmest setting, and you'll just get more out of the vehicle. And then inside, we've just got these Recaro bucket seats, nicely bolstered on the sides and down below to hold your legs in place. But other than that, it is pretty much a standard WRX. You've got some suede trimming across the dash, WRX printed there, and an STI steering wheel as well. I've always liked the WRX cabin. It's a nice size, even though it is classified as a small vehicle. It's in the premium small car class now. Used to be alongside the Corolla and so on, but now it's alongside, you know, BMW 1 Series, even Volkswagen Golf is now in the premium section as well. But yeah, it's definitely one of the most spacious in this class. Plenty of room, good headroom, and I love the visibility of the latest WRX as well. You've got these quarter windows there so you can see between the mirror and the pillar, and overall good visibility through the front and even out the back with that big rear wing. You can see straight underneath it. It's like it just encompasses the outside of the rear windscreen. Also new, and this is part of the kind of MY25 update, a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. Now this, you can configure different displays. Got kind of a futuristic display there, or you can have traditional gauges. And then down below here on this little side bit, you can change that around, your trip information, lap timer, live tire pressure monitoring, so you can keep an eye on that once you start driving. And then yeah, your radio. I'll leave it on the boost pressure just so we can see as we're driving along. STI logos on there as well. The latest touchscreen does offer wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It's pretty good in terms of the layout and all that. It's maybe a little bit crude or a bit basic compared with some, but yeah, I like the way that it's got the separated climate controls down there, and then you do have physical buttons for the main features as well, so you can quickly adjust the temperature. Then you've got your car settings page in here, and this is where you can go in and configure the individual mode. So down here on the steering wheel, we've got a mode button, and you've got Sport Plus, individual, comfort, normal. Yeah, and when you put it into individual, that's where when you can play around with the different parameters. So you can have comfort steering, for example, like it is now, but the sport suspension setup, so it's nice and firm. You've just got the relaxed steering. I think that is good. Brings in a certain amount of versatility and variety with the vehicle. So it's not just a one car, it's kind of multiple cars, kind of, anyway. It doesn't have a wireless charger, which is kind of showing its age a little bit, I guess, but you do have multiple charging options down there and decent practicality. So you've got cup holders and a nice size center console box with even a CD changer. How retro is that? Then up at the back, once again, decent amount of room for this class. Got a center armrest, cup holders, even seat heaters for the outer seats, but no rear climate vents, which is a little bit strange. Even though this is a small vehicle, it's, you know, at the larger end of the small car class, as I said. It'd be nice to have individual climate vents in the back. But plenty of legroom, at least in my seating configuration. I'm only 170 centimeters, so that's not going to be suitable information for people that are at a normal height. But my head's nowhere near the ceiling. I feel, yeah, like this is a nice sedan I'd go for a nice long drive in. The rear seat is kind of perched up a little bit as well, so if you've got kids, they don't feel like they're down in the back dungeon or something. They feel like you've got a good view out the front. The windowsills are a little bit higher. It kind of just, it's inclines as you get towards the back. But yeah, throughout the front, it definitely has a slightly perched up view. And then up at the back, it's a nice lightweight boot lid. It's aluminium for the boot lid and the bonnets. There might be some other panels that are aluminium. This isn't actually that heavy for a four-wheel drive modern vehicle. It's like just under 1,600 kilograms, which is not too bad, yeah, for a modern vehicle. But decent sized boot, just over 400 litres. You can definitely use that for your weekly shopping and so on. And underneath we do have a, well, it's a full-size wheel, but it's an 18-inch rim. So it's alloy and all that. It's just not the exact same rim as those on the outside. Better than a space saver though, anyway. Then under the bonnet, we've got the carryover 2.4 litre FA24 turbocharged flat 4 engine, 202 kilowatts and 350 Newton meters. It would have been nice if they just tweaked that just a little bit for this Spec B. It wouldn't take much, you know, even a bit more torque perhaps, because 350 Newton meters is not that much for a 2.4 litre. But anyway, we'll go for a drive. I'll show you what it's like. This example also has the no-cost option STI muffler kit. So it's just the rear mufflers, but just gives it a bit of a bassy note when you're driving along. Not quite as iconic as the classic models, but a standard STI back in the days was quiet as well. Well, firstly, how good is it that Subaru is keeping the manual transmission alive and kicking? It's just so much fun and engaging to play with a manual gearbox. Obviously, they're not the quickest, especially compared with, you know, an electric vehicle that doesn't even have a set of gears per se, but it's just fun, you know what I mean? You change gear just for fun. That exhaust is not too loud either. It doesn't have a drone or anything like that at certain RPM. It's just got a bit of a sporty note to let you know, hey, this is a sporty vehicle. And it sounds pretty aggressive, sounds a little bit mean at certain parts. It's just not that iconic throbbing Subaru sound. Yeah, I would pick this option for sure, the sports exhaust. Why not? No cost option. Speaking of cost, this is just over $61,000. It's exactly the same as the regular TS automatic variant. So it's good that Subaru hasn't just slapped a massive price tag on this for the sake of it. 61 grand in this day and age is pretty good, especially for the sort of performance and value that you're getting. You're getting all the touchscreen and all that, heated seats in the back, good amount of space, big boot, and four-wheel drive. So you could take this down to the snow and not have to worry too much, or even just on a dirt road or a slippery road in the wet. And you've got that security of all-wheel drive grip. It doesn't rev very high. It seems to hit the rev line pretty quickly, actually. It'd be nice if they could just extend that RPM a little bit. That would obviously give it more power as well. But it still goes good. It's got a lot of meaty low-end grunt and good mid-range as well. You don't have to downshift to second all the time. You can leave it in third and it will pull you around quite nicely. So third gear, full throttle. It's picking up. It probably doesn't sound like it, but it's got a nice surge. It just requires about 3,000 RPM or 3.5 before it really starts to pick up. But this is uphill. It might not look like it on camera. It's quite steep. red line. Okay, we'll try out the Sport Plus setting. Down through here, there's a few bumps. It's going to try and unsettle the vehicle a little bit. Yeah, it does feel a little bit firm, but the wheels are still staying planted on the ground and I'm not being thrown about. Down through here, it's definitely very bumpy, so we'll see how it behaves. Yep, beautiful. Awesome. And then you got that mid-range pull in third gear, just reefing me out of that corner. Easy to heel and toe with this thing. The pedals are nicely placed. Yeah, it's definitely a sporty machine. It feels like it wants to go for a drive all the time. Decent gearbox feel, like it's not as chunky or as meaty as the old WRXs, but in the same way it's easier to change gear, like it's smoother. Plenty of grip, you can just apply full power pretty much whenever you want. Not too much understeer actually, so around this tight corner, it's tucking in really well. But having that manual transmission is just beautiful. Like, it's just such a joy to go for a drive for the sake of going for a drive and just rowing through that gearbox. All right, we'll head out now and do the performance test and see what it goes like. But yeah, first impressions, this is definitely the sort of best, most complete WRX that I've driven in a long time. It feels sporty, it sounds sporty, it's got a good balance for handling and grip, but it's still a little bit playful. Like, I feel like I can kick the tail out a little bit if I really hook it in. But then it still has all the latest technology, so it's practical as well, like with a big boot, decent size rear seat. Yeah, look at that, it's nicely surging me through that third gear coming out of that corner. I'm not sure if this will be quicker in terms of 0 to 100 than any other WRX that I've tested recently, but we'll give it a go anyway. It's got those stickier tyres, but I don't think grip is an issue with the standard WRX to begin with. So in terms of acceleration, that is, I think it will be about the same as the other ones, but let's see.